Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
You're watching.
We're watching. You're watching Fanboy.
Fanboy. Fanboy.
Fanboy.
Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
Adam Elliot, you Australian so-and-so, I got to shake my fist at you. I did not realize how much you were going to dehydrate me with these sad, how do I put this? Melancholy hope. I think that's the best way I can describe it.
Sure, that's very apt, I think. Yeah, my apologies. It's a sick ambition to want people to cry. I feel like a sadist, but that's what my whole career is about.
Well, the film is screening tonight at the Newport Beach Film Festival and is opening in theaters this Friday, October 25th. Congratulations on the screening in Newport and the response that you're getting. I've talked to several programmers and they're like, oh yeah, bring a box of tissues.
Yeah, look, we've been really relieved and chuffed by the responses, particularly here in America. The film was released back in July, and we were very nervous about the film because took us 8 years to make, and we hadn't even had time for a proper test screening. So yeah, no, it's off to a great start, and we just won the London Film Festival, which for me as an animator it was a real wonderful achievement, because it's not often when we compete against live action films, animators tend to never win. So this was a real wonderful thing for the whole animation community. Actually, it really validates that animation's not a genre, that it's actually just a medium for telling any sort of story you'd like.
Before we get into depth, can you tell us the difference between claymation and clayography?
Well, clayography is just a very pretentious word I invented because I couldn't find a word that described what I wanted to do, 28 years ago. And claymation was already trademarked by the wonderful Will Vinton. So I had to invent my own word, which is a portmanteau of clayography. Yeah.
All right, I dig that. You're going to be in Newport tonight for the Q&A following the screening at the Triangle. The response has been wonderful from the people that I've spoken with. So, everyone's going to be excited about that. When this is, from what I've read so far, is that this is part of your trilogy of trilogies where you decided to do 3 shorts and 3 features, and this is your second feature.
Yes, I wanted to do, when I was at film school, I heard about how Quentin Tarantino wanted to make 10 films and then he was done. And I thought, oh, I'd like to do 9. I'd like to do three short shorts, 3 long shorts, and 3 features. Never thinking that would actually ever happen, but I'm up to number 7, so I've only got 2 left, and then I can die.
Well, let's not hope for that, but Tarantino said he's going to do 10, and we're probably going to get 12. You want your 9? Are we going to get something else where you go into a completely different genre?
Oh, I might take up, I don't know, knitting or something after that, something less expensive and less time consuming.
Snail farming?
Yeah, snail farming.
You could just a restaurant of escargot.
Oh yeah, I certainly, I'm so sick of snails at the moment. I'd be very happy to eat a few.
Yeah. How did the story of Grace and Gilbert come about? Was this inspired by people you know in real life and doing these animated shorts and features? Or was it something that just hit at one point and you're like, let's talk about this subject matter?
No, well, like all my films, I'm really lucky that I'm surrounded by very interesting and eccentric people. And 8 years ago, I came across some notes about a friend of mine. I was going to make a short film about her life, and she was born with a severe cleft palate and had a very traumatic childhood, but grew up to be this very confident extrovert who was the life of the party. She would always be first to take all her clothes off and dance around. And I thought, how did this very shy, traumatized little girl grow up to be this flower? So there was that, but also at the same time, my father had just passed away, and he was a bit of a hoarder. He had left behind 3 sheds full of things. And we started to trawl through it. And I became fascinated with why, as human beings, do we collect stuff that we don't need? And so I started to read a lot of books on the psychology of hoarding, and the more I researched, the more I discovered that extreme hoarders have often suffered a lot of trauma, and more often than not, the loss of a child or a sibling or a twin. And so that sort of sprigged my interest as well. And then the two sort of ideas formed. And 3 years later, 16 drafts of the script, we had Memoir of a Snail.
And you have an incredible cast in this. Eric Bana as James the Magistrate. Kodi Smit-McPhee. I always butcher Kodi's name. Nightcrawler himself is Gilbert. Sarah Snook is Grace. Jacki Weaver is Pinky. I mean, just an incredible array of characters. You're in it. Your brother Luke's in it. You know, I'm sure another cousin is somewhere in this film at this point because you guys had to do this all in-house. You know, how exciting is it from when you do the voice recording roughly maybe 3 years ago to now getting the animation done and complete, merging it together and presenting it to the world?
Well, that's the thing. When you merge the voice with the animation, something magical happens. But of course, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they don't marry for whatever reason. But we're very lucky. We got our dream cast, and you know, these are all Australian actors. Even Nick Cave makes an appearance. He now lives in London, but he was very excited to be involved. He said, "What sort of voice do you want me to do, Adam?" And I said, "No, I don't want you to do a voice. I want you to be Nick Cave. And how Nick Cave do you want me to be?" And I said, "Well, you know, 10% more Nick Cave than Nick Cave." So it's a very eclectic cast, but you know, they were all very generous and did fantastic work.
Right. And then, you know, you have Nightcrawler and the Hulk as part of your cast, so everything goes on top of it.
Yeah, Eric was wonderful. He, you know, directing Eric to be a masturbating magistrate was probably one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, I told Eric, I jokingly, of course, I said the reason why his Hulk movie doesn't work is because he's already the size of the Hulk at 6 feet 5 inches tall, that they couldn't make him much bigger.
No, he needed to be more puny.
Like, Eric's intimidating as it is, played Aussie rules football and then everything. I was like, we're supposed to think that you're the guy with insecurities? Okay. No, but everything, I mean, it's a tearjerker for the majority of the film, and then there's these couple of clicks that just give us hope throughout the picture, because if you didn't, it would have been a French film and everyone would have been suicidal. You know, how do you like find those right moments of like, all right, let's give hope here, you know, 23rd minute, a bit of hope, you know, 60th minute over here, whatever.
Oh, look, it's very
I'm
tricky.
just throwing out timestamps, not actual moments of the film.
No, it is very tricky to get that balance right between the comedy and the tragedy. I am very cruel to my protagonists. I drag them through the mud, but then I always try to reward them at the end and have my endings being as uplifting as possible. You know, and I cram as many gags in there as I can, and yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. The last thing I want to do is depress the audience, but you know, my aim, if you're not an emotional wreck by the end of one of my films, then I feel like I've failed. But I do certainly want to make the audiences laugh as much as they cry.
All right, I'm gonna leave you with this because you got to head over to Newport Beach tonight, not only for the Q&A with the screening at 7:30 at the lot, but also the fact that we'll probably see you at the after party. What would you wish that potential animation students or animators would have asked you rather than some of the questions that they do ask?
Oh, look, I think, you know, I always, it's always about the script, and I bang on about this forever because I find a lot of students also focus too much on the technology, and we have wonderful digital technology now, but I always find that the scripts tend to be a little bit underdeveloped. Great ideas, great concepts, but you've really got to lock yourself away for as long as you can and keep writing and writing and writing. I love that quote, the best writing is rewriting. So yeah, it's all about the script.
All right. Adam, Elliot, thank you so much for your time. Wednesday, October 23rd, 7:30 p.m. at the Triangle in Costa Mesa with the after party at Time. Hopefully we'll see you there. And across the United States on Friday, October 25th, Memoir of a Snail. Can't wait to see you in person tonight, and congratulations.
Thank you. We'll see you there.